Welcome to the Cannabis Equipment News Podcast.
Hi, I'm David Manti, and welcome to a new episode of the Cannabis Equipment News Podcast. With me today is Harold Bouchard, President and CEO of PreRoll-Er and Procepack. Thank you very much for joining me today, Harold.
Thank you. Pleased to meet you all.
All right. Well, before we get started, please make sure to like, share, and subscribe to the podcast. You could also help us out a lot by leaving the podcast a positive review on whatever platform you use. Finally, if you want to email the podcast, you can reach me at david@cannabisequipmentnews.com. Harold, thanks again for joining us today, man. And I always like to start with learning a little bit more about how you personally got involved in the cannabis industry. So what was your path here?
Okay, I'm an engineer, and we had an equipment in packaging machinery for pharmaceutical food industry. And I had one of my ex-employee actually called me one day about 4 years ago and said, I developed something. He was in the tobacco industry, and he designed a machine. He said, look, there's a huge market for the cannabis industry in Canada and in the US for pre-rolls. We developed something, and I think you'd be interested to look at it. And we've designed a lot of other equipment. So I went and saw the machine, and it was like a prototype machine that didn't really work, but it got me totally excited about this machine in this industry. And that's when I got started. That's close to about three years ago. A little bit like 3 years ago. And then we started to basically, based on that technology, we developed an industrial version of our machine called the PreRoll-Er. And then the PreRoll-Er got really big, and now we have multiple models all related to that technology that over the years we've got over 120 machines. So what personally, I'm an engineer making packaging machinery, and that's basically what got me started in the cannabis industry and got me excited. When I first touched that industry, people were, it's a new industry, people are excited, people were extremely, it was motivation. Like the conventional industry that I used to work on was very, very stable, and there was nothing innovative coming out of that industry, of that conventional industry. So that's got me excited. And since then, I still have the other division that still are highly profitable, but I spend most of my time for the last 3 years developing the technology for packaging technology, automation packaging technology for the cannabis industry.
So you said that you have 120 machines currently in the market?
Yes.
What were some of those first few months, first year of development? What did that look like? How was, developing a machine for cannabis different from developing a machine, in traditional pharmaceutical?
Yeah, tell me about it. It's been a bumpy road. Initially, when we first built this machine, we thought we need a machine that's very easily upgradable. That's modular. So we knew that the machine, the first shot at the machine wouldn't be the final shot, if you want. It's very difficult to make a machine that works right away. And I knew that would be the case with that. So we build a machine being modular, and the initial machine that customer have, even machine number one, has been upgraded to the latest version, because it's not just software upgradable, but it's also hardware. So there's like 10 stations on the machine, and all stations are built separately and then put together. So all the modules then are put together. So it's easy to upgrade, let's say, the twisting station or the filling station or the compression station. They all been basically built separately, tested separately, put it on the machine. So when initially, right now we're going to be releasing version 5, but let's say for the first 3 versions, there was always upgrades on the machine that we actually done and give away those upgrades, because they were not really upgrades. They were actually features that were fixing issues with the machine. And that's how we were able to keep going with this technology and keep investing. So the first year was really investing heavily in the technology, heavily in R&D, research and development. And because initially we tried some concept that was related to tobacco industry, finding out that those machines didn't work. It's very different cannabis than tobacco industry. And then we find out that also you work with paper, like cones that are very quality is very variable, and we had to work with different sizes of cone, different weight variation, different strains of cannabis, and now we're into infused. So anyway, it's been a very fast track. And what I did initially, we've created a SWAT team within the Procepack division. It was myself and two guys, my top guys. I said, look, guys, we're going to spend all of our time developing this machine. And that's what we did. We worked 7 days a week, 12 hours a day for at least 8 months, developing the technology and back and forth. And then we installed a couple of machines that didn't work really well, and we keep going at it. And now we have a very stable machine. We have a lot of repeat customers. People are buying our machine. And the reason why we were able to do that is because we never let the customer down, and we always reinvesting. And we knew customer were also in there with us, and we were fortunate enough to have good customers that were patient with us. And well, we did take back 3 or 4 machines initially that customer didn't want to, and we took it back. We didn't want to argue. We say, okay, it doesn't work, we'll give you money back, take it back. And that's how we build the reputation of being there for the customer, not just there to sell a machine, but there to help the customer and be there the whole ride, if you want, with them.
As an engineer at your core, that initial R&D phase, is that the most exciting for you?
Oh yeah. I'm 59 years old, and I was kind of a way of like just running the wave and everything. And when I got into that industry, for me, it was like starting a new business, and it's like, wow. And to be honest with you, I keep developing new feature or new machine around the technology, and that got me excited. I have a team, just R&D. Now we're about 105 people overall, but I have a separate R&D team just for the pre-roller. And that also, and I'm in those meetings all the time, brainstorming on improvements and stuff. And I have an incredible team of service tech that are on the road doing the startup training at the customer, and they bring us a lot of data. And we keep listening to those guys, trying to make the machine. I think now we're at the phase where we want to make the machine extremely user-friendly and integrate artificial intelligence or expert system within the machine, that the machine will think by itself. So, and we are close to there. We're testing a lot of stuff right now, and it will be released eventually very soon to make the machine easier to operate, basically.
So, give me a rundown of the pre-roller. How does it work? Sort of and why is it a benefit, that sort of sets itself apart from other pre-roll fillers on the market?
We try to listen to customers, and what customer wanted is a machine that's not too big. The footprint is critical. So the machine is very small. It's 4 feet by 5 feet. And we now even have a smaller machine that it's 3 feet by 4 feet. And we're actually doing an even smaller one for the entry-level customers based on the same technology. So that was one thing, is to have a machine that's not too big. The other thing is the machine that is very flexible. So it can produce from 0.25 over 3 grams pre-rolls. It also works with all the different cone manufacturers out there, where we're adaptable to all that. It goes from the 70 millimeters cones to the 140 millimeter cones. We can work with very, very slim one. We have the technology that allow us to fill, let's say, 0.25 on a very small cones, very reefer, 98 reefer, very, very slim type cone. So it's the versatility of the machine, also the consistency and quality of the end product. We wanted to make a product that is better quality than by hand, and also adjustable on the fly. So let's say when you create a pre-rolls with our machine and you want to adjust the density, so you go at the end of the machine, you look at it, no, I want it a bit more tight at the crunch. So you can easily adjust while the machine is running. And we have 5 patents on this machine, but I think the heart of the system is our technology for filling and pre-compaction. That's where we shine over everybody else. We nailed that technology, plus also the filling system on cannabis. We tried different things using screw, like auger type, vibration, conveyor, and those things does work for a little while, but you need to clean it so often. Cannabis get everywhere, and then when it sticks to something, you're done because it's going to keep growing. So we've done so many different design, and when we came up with our feeding system, called it the Tumbler, that was a game changer. That happened at version 3 of our machine, and we've actually upgraded everybody. We used to have a conveyor and a hopper, so that was that's the big thing. So the cleaning is very important. The changeover is very important, and that's key to our machine. So let's say you want to go from an 84 26.5 grams to a 109 1 gram joint. You're with the version 5, within 3 4 5 minutes you'll be able to switch over. And now it's more like 15 20 minutes, but we are upgrading our machine to be completely toolless, and that's a big feature that I wanted for quite a while. The operation also. So to answer your questions, so it does also straight tube. So you can also fill blunt with the machine, a large, very big one, and it does cigarette style too. We have a feeder for cigarette style and cones. So flexibility, small footprint, extreme consistency and quality of the end product. We didn't focus on having the highest speed out there, because for me, you better be running constantly at a very high quality with very low reject than trying to produce a large amount of product that needs to be reworked. And that was the focus. So we nailed the technology. Now we're coming up with a high speed, so 3 times the speed, but we are not reinventing the wheel. That means the technology of that smaller speed working, we're just triple the speed on our high speed one. So that was a goal, and I think that's why I think we've been successful. And because people were saying, look, I mean, produce 1,000 good pre-rolls per hour constantly, one person, no rework, weight quality, unbelievable. This is what our customer wanted, and that's what we did. And flexibility. So people want to be able to produce not just one size.
So the pre-roller is capable of doing 1,000 per hour?
Yeah, 1,000 per hour.
Could you tell me?
Actually, it's a bit more than that. I mean, in theory, if we go at 25 a minute, so in theory, we could go 1,500 around per hour. But in practice, I mean, people that are using the pre-roller every day, they're running around 1,000 an hour, good pre-rolls, okay? And they're very happy with that. And we have a smaller model that goes about 800. It's called the PreRoll-Er 100. And now we're introducing an even smaller model, and the bigger one is just introduced, the 300.
You mentioned a couple of things that are kind of critical issues for people that are trying to manufacture pre-rolls. One that I want to talk more about is the Tumbler technology. So instead of like an auger type or a conveyor system feeding the pre-roller, it's a tumbler? How does it work?
It's refer that to like a cement bin. I don't know if you've seen cement bin turning, and just keep making the mix and making sure it doesn't. So it's very similar type technology. So what you do is you put your grinded product into that tumbler, and that slowly just feed an area that is then feeding the scale directly. And then that portion that was the critical part, because we never compress the product. We also keep the mix very homogeneous also by doing that, and we gently feed the product into it. So there's nothing, and plus that tumbler is easily removed, and you can have a spare one. So you can have a ready one, you change strain, for example. You take the other one out, you put the new tumbler in. So that's been a game changer. That's been a game changer. We tried, like I said, we tried the auger type, like the screw type feeding system, like you've seen with other technology out there, conveyor, vibration. The issue with vibration, it works, but the problem is you have inconsistency in your product at the end because the tricones get separated. It's the density variation makes it separate from the rest. So you have complete inconsistency from pre-rolls to pre-rolls. And that was not a possibility. So, and yeah.
Another critical issue that you touch on was waste and also, or rework, just because a lot of these machines on the market, when they're filling pre-rolls, a lot of it has to, a lot of it falls by the wayside and needs to be put back in. Tell me how it sounds like a cleaner process in terms of filling the pre-rolls without a lot of product falling by the wayside.
Yeah, that's a great question. We have two scales on this machine. So we weigh the actual flour going to the pre-rolls, and we weigh the end product. So, and also we have a reject system right at the weight of the flour going into the pre-roll. So if you're outside of your range, instead of filling something that you know you're going to reject, we're rejecting that dose right away. So you're not wasting any product there. So the rework, no rework at that point. The other thing is that we're not using volumetric filling. You've seen on other machines, basically what they do is they fill it and it's based on the level. But because of density variation, I mean, you never get the exact weight on this. So it's kind of impossible. And they go like overweight and then they recuperate. If, for example, the cones is also a bad quality cones and it doesn't slide into a specific funnel, we're not filling it. We're not filling the cone. So what it does is you're not wasting product on the table, on the machine, because it doesn't fill something that's not open. It's like the cone is not open. So we actually recheck the cone at the end. So we're not wasting any product also there. So the combination of all this, plus the fact that we also do a check weight at the end, you have almost no reject, close to about 2%. When the machine is fine-tuned, you got less than 2%, 1.5 to 2%.
Cone variance, and mostly due to paper, is an issue, especially as people are trying to remain in compliance in various municipalities, districts, states, countries. How do you manage that when working with different paper manufacturers or cone manufacturers to make sure that it sounds like you can source from any cone manufacturer and still remain in compliance?
Yes, we're in compliance because initially what we have also on the machine is you will weigh, for example, you take a box of cones, okay? And then you're going to weigh 20 cones and we'll basically give you the average inaccuracy on those 20 cones and gives you the actual accuracy you can expect at the end based on the inaccuracy of your cones. And that's the first data you put in. Then we'll tell you, okay, you want to do a 0.5. So there's no way you're going to be able to go more than 5% accuracy because of the inaccuracy of your cone. So we'll give you that range right there. So that's one thing. The other thing is because we reject the cones that are bad quality, because people sometimes they will buy very cheap cones and they think they're going to save money. But at the end of the day, what's going to happen is we'll reject more cones. So the difference in price, you'll pay in the reject if you want. So, but the machine will keep running. So that's why this machine can work with anything. Obviously, if you work with cones that are very good quality, consistent, you'll get a better throughput at the end of the day. You may pay a bit more for your cones, but you'll get a better throughput. We also manufacture, we source cones since about a year ago. Because there was issue with customer having very bad quality cone and say, let's see if we can find good cones out there, and then we back and forth. So we now can supply cones with our machine that are made to our standards and also fit in the actual tray within the machine. But we have a lot of customer using all the other brands out there, and we're not against any of those things. But the machine will work with everything. But keep in mind that if you have very low quality, inconsistent cones, you will have a higher reject.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah.
Are the machines fully automated, and how or is some of the inspection or quality control, is that visual inspection and quality control, or all is that machine vision? How's that working?
That's a good question. We have features now that we have the pre-roller. Okay, the pre-roller itself will actually give you a quality control in terms of the weight. So the weight of the flower and the weight of the end product. And because of the way the machine is manufactured, it's very precise. And the devil is in the details in engineering, and especially this, because you work with something that's very, very, a lot of variance, cannabis, paper. So your machine has to be extremely precise at every level. So we don't neglect any accuracy in terms of machining parts. We're also using the best possible quality in components. So we use Festo as the servo motors, all the pneumatics, and it's 100%. So I wanted a machine because I'm used to make machine for pharmaceutical industry. So my machines is like 25 years. I mean, you can use this machine for at least 25 years. It's made like those standards. That's one thing. And then the other thing is that we've developed another technology because of our other division that will actually do a visual quality control with a vision system. So you can have a visual system. So you can decide what is your acceptable visual quality of your pre-rolls, and then we can reject also those. So that's another add-on options that can be added to the machine. On top of that, once that's done, so you have complete quality of this, we can take the pre-rolls and put it into a tube or a jar, close it, label it. We have what's called the pre-roller line. So we can automate your whole packaging, manufacturing of pre-rolls, from cones to jars, tubes, box, you name bags. So we have all that knowledge and technology.
What kind of cleaning and maintenance is expected with the pre-roller?
Typical customer, every shift, 8-hour shift, we recommend about 15-20 minutes of cleaning. One thing that we, again, in the design is we want it to be everything open. So you see everything. You see exactly where the product goes. You see if there's anything stuck anywhere. There's a wide space between the actual disc that turns with the servo motors and the actual base of the machine. So you see exactly what's there. And so all you need to do is just vacuum what's excess on the table and just clean with a cloth, a wet cloth with alcohol, a little bit of alcohol, and just clean all the different area of the machine, 15-20 minutes every 8 hours. And that's about it. Yeah.
What about regarding like preventative and predictive maintenance on the machine?
We provide, when you buy a machine, because of the history now that we've had for the last 24 months, we have some installation that's been running for 24 months. So we have a lot of history on what's been what are the parts that have been breaking, and it's a very low level of maintenance in terms of high level parts. You do have to change some seals, some O-rings, and we'll provide you with all that. And we have like a minimum spare parts package if you want when you buy the machine. So to get you up and running all the time. And we have the history of let's say every 500,000 pre-rolls, let's do this, and that. So we have like a procedure for preventive maintenance on the machine in every stages of production. And that will guarantee the longevity of your machine, basically, and the productivity.
What is your typical customer? Are you servicing more of the larger pre-roll manufacturers? Are you servicing more of the mom and pop shops that are out there? What's your typical customer look like?
We have the big guys. We have all the big guys that but not all. But we have a lot of the big guys. In Canada, we have a lot of customers that and we have the small guy too. So we got both. We got the own brand, and we have the people that do co-packing also. So we have a customer in Canada that has 8 machines that do a lot of co-packing for a lot of other brands. and we've been servicing them. They're not very well known, but they're one of the largest producer of pre-rolls in Canada. And we have the big guys, the brand name. So it's actually addressing, obviously, to go with the 200, you have some sort of a minimum per month to justify a machine like that. But now we introduced the 100, which is a bit smaller, and then the 50, which is a semi-automatic machine, but that will use the same technology for the filling and the pre-compaction, and that's coming. So we want to address the whole pre-roll automated market, and that's important for us. We just realized doing shows that you have a lot of new licensee that doesn't have the money to invest even in the 100 and would like to get into automation to save some labor and have the good quality. And that's why we introduced a smaller machine, but use the same. Basically, we're basically using the tumbler I was explaining, the weighing and the compaction. That will be automated. Those are the most important feature.
Are you seeing more people get on board with the fully automated solution where it goes from, sort of raw product going in and then having a complete system where it's packaged and ready for shipping at the end?
Yes and no. I mean, the industry, as you know, I'm sure you're in the industry, so you know that money is a bit difficult to get right now in the investment, and people are trying to get financing, and it's not always easy. We have equipped a lot of, I would say, I mean, out of the 120 machines, let's say there's maybe 15 of them that are totally automated. Okay, so it's about 10 to 15% that will actually get the stretch to fully automated. But that requires way more money and volume, obviously, because you're investing more. Yeah, so it's kind of about 15%, I would say.
You talked about being out in the industry at trade shows. It's my understanding that you just won an award at a recent event. Isn't that true?
Yeah, that's right. Thank you for mentioning that. Yeah, we were extremely surprised, to be very honest with you and blunt with you. We just heard that we were nominees for the best packaging equipment for 2022 in the cannabis industry. And I said, oh, that's great. So I passed the information on. But I was the kind of guy who thought that those awards were won because you invested and you buy something, and I had that, and I wasn't after awards or anything like that. I've never been really that kind of guy. I would say, let's make the best machine out there. People will buy it for the good reason, not because you won an award. And I went to the ceremony there, and it was a big thing. And I was sitting right beside my competitors, and they named everybody, and they said, PreRoll-Er. I said, what? And I told I was there with one of my friends, and I said, look, I feel that we have 1 or 2% chances of winning. And then we won. So we were extremely happy about that because that came from the industry. And I was talking with a lot of customers that don't even have our machine, but say, look, we believe in you guys. We saw your machine. We love it. Congratulations. So that's the kind of feedback for me that means a lot. That means a lot. And it means a lot to our people here that work so hard to be where we are now. And it took a lot of hard work to be where we are. So yeah, we won, and we were, very, very happy about that.
Do you have the trophy or plaque, prominently displayed in the lobby or something like that?
Yeah, exactly. We have that, and employees likes to see that. So it's been a good team building prize for everybody. So we're very proud of that. Thank you to mention, David.
Oh, absolutely. Well, it's well deserved. What are some of the issues that you've seen with other automation and packaging equipment in the cannabis industry? Is a lot of that feedback coming to you from customers that are having issues with competitive products, issues with your products? And, how do you work to sort of design that out of future iterations?
Yeah, we try to be, like I told you, we have a lot of service tech on the road. I've got a dozen people that are constantly with customer doing startup and training. And we take good care on getting those people to give us all the feedback we can from customers. And those are the people that we have customers that actually know our machine better than us. Obviously, they've been operating it. And so we keep on listening to them very, very carefully. And that's how we've been improving. We're trying to listen to the market. So recently, we just added the oil injection station on our machine. So meaning that it does work with infused product, which is a premix of, as you know, concentrate or oil or ash or crystals and powder, but with cannabis, and that's called infused. This works. We have a package that it's an option for infuse, and that's been around for about 6 months. And now we've been working on the oil injection for close to a year now, and we've sold 5 of those machines. And so that's been coming from customer requests. Infuse and oil injection direct on the pre-rolls it's huge. It's huge in the US, and it's coming very big in Canada too. So we've been listening. So the machine, we actually, when we designed the machine, we had 2 free space, if you want, 2 free stations. And we were thinking eventually we're probably going to need to add something there. And that's what we did. And so that's plus, I mean, anything related to, like I told you, with the new version 5, easiness of operation, easy to change over from one size to another, the tooling, those are coming from customers. How easy to clean, those are coming back all the time. And I've been pushing my team to just make the best possible machine. And this is the kind of thing that we are doing right now.
So is PreRoll-Er going to stick with pre-rolls, or do you have your sights on other product categories as well?
We're already doing a lot of other solutions for the cannabis industry. So what happened is that we have customers that's been buying the pre-roller, and then they have a flower line, put flowers in bags. We have those solutions also. We don't have huge innovation in those fields. It works. We have good solutions that are solid and works. And we also have capsules, filling, capping, labeling. We've been, I mean, since the beginning of the company, we're producing a lot of labeling machines, like labelers, for all kinds of applications. So we have a very, very rugged, nice equipment for tube labelers, for jar labelers, for bag labelers, for box labelers. In Canada, we do a lot of excise stamp application on bags and jars. So we have a lot of other solutions for the cannabis industry. Where we're working on right now is towards, because there's a lot of things to do with the pre-rolls. The pre-rolls market is big, and I think it's going to be growing. And so we've designed a tabletop infuser also that we actually just sold the first one, but we designed it. We just sold the first one actually today. It's basically a tabletop. Instead of having integrated to the machine, it will pick up the pre-rolls directly from a tray with a robot arm, cut the excess twist, create a flat top, and then inject oil at about 500 pre-rolls per hour. And that's a tabletop unit. So people that want to do it maybe manually or will supply that. We are also designing other equipment for other people like Futurola. They've been asking us to build machines for them, and we're building 2 machines for them right now. So they've done the due diligence on the quality of the equipment. They came over. So that tells me a lot about our quality and our reputation in the field. Those guys wanted us to do machinery for them. So there's so many things that are coming up. We're doing the high speed one. We're doing the smaller. And all the automation around pre-rolls. I think our innovations are pre-rolls, but we are supplying high-level solutions with all the other fields. Oil filling. We have a very nice monoblock that does pump oil filling, vape pen, like cartridge filling. So it's based on the same monoblock technology that we use in the pre-roller for this. So, but these are, I would call it, let's say, known technology. The huge innovation is on the pre-roller, and we also designed something where we have a patent on the pop top that is very common in the industry. We actually developed a feeder for this. So they are open like that, randomly put in a hopper, and then we have a system that actually orient them, feed that, and then we have different feature on the machine that just label it or put the pre-rolls in it, close it, and label it and out with the quality control system. So we developed that feature there. So we're always innovating, but we're trying to, and that's why I called it. I've thought about it for a while when we called this division pre-roller, but we wanted to make sure it came across as this is where the innovation is in the pre-roll. But and when we first talk with customer, they get to know us, and then they buy a lot of other stuff from us after.
You had mentioned that you took the first machines didn't work, so you brought them back. You bought them back. Do you keep those sort of as a memory of where it came from?
Yeah, we have a lot of parts here. Yeah, we have a lot of machines and a lot of components that, definitely. And it's kind of for us, it's kind of a reminder on what not to do and testing. And we do have a lot of hardware that are not in use, if you want, in our engineering department. Yes.
Well, and congratulations on this first sale today of you said the tabletop infuser. That's awesome.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. It's a company in Canada. Yeah.
It's I mean, it sounds like you have a lot of exciting things going on from a product development standpoint. What are your expectations? I know that you said that you have a couple announcements coming down the pike in the next few weeks. What are some of the things that the Cannabis Equipment News audience should expect from PreRoll-Er going forward?
I think the main thing to understand here is that we are here for the good reasons. We're here to support our customers. We're engineers. We're technical people. We're not there to just make machines and make big dollars and then walk away. We're there to support you. Customer service is everything to me. If a customer calls me, there's an issue, 7 days a week, we'll be on it. Okay. My team knows about it. This is the value of our company. And it's a family-owned business. I've got my daughter and son in the business also. They are passionate as I am. And we want to be able to supply for pre-roll automation, the complete solution. So that's why we came up with a smaller unit, the PreRoll-Er 50. That's just a pre-release. That's the first, I think it's the first time I talked to anybody about it yet. I mean, the engineering knows about it for a while, but because and I learned, and this is coming from talking with customers, going to shows and say, look, I cannot afford this one. I would love to have it. Why don't we start with this? And then, so we have the 50, the 100, the 200, and the 300 for the and then the other guys say, look, I want to be able to produce 4,000 pre-rolls per hour. Okay. And I probably won't sell that many of that big machine, but I'll be able to offer that. Plus everything around it to help you automate your packaging automation for cannabis industry. So that's where this is what I want your audience to understand what we can do.
Well, and it's encouraging to know that, it's a family business with a strong history, just because we've seen in the industry sort of some machine builders kind of pop up and go away. And then people are sort of left with machines that they don't know how they work and they don't know how to fix them.
Yeah. And that's been, the thing is, we were initially successful. So I had like the resources financially to support that growth and support the investment, support the R&D basically. And we're fortunate, we're in Montreal, Canada. We're fortunate here to have R&D allowance from the government, that they help us develop new technology and support us in that regard. So that really helped us. And I was a kind of guy. I mean, at one point, maybe 6 months after we started to do that, I said, what am I doing here? I mean, I wanted to, but I was so much deep into the development of this, and I keep going. I keep putting money into this, and finally, and we keep giving service. And I never look back. So if I have a customer and say, I need to upgrade this, go for it, guys. I don't care about the cost. So that's been the reason why of our success. Somebody who wants to go into this market thinking that it's a simple machine, and even if they try to copy our machine, which will happen, I'm sure Chinese will do that, and I mean people will do that, but there's so much details that they won't be able to see that it will take them a good 18 months to figure that out. And I strongly believe that, because there's so much little details that are extremely important for the efficiency of the machine. So if something is not done right, you're to go from 2% reject to 50% reject. Just like that. And that's what makes this machine unique in terms of technology itself. Yeah.
4 or 5 years ago, when you started looking at the cannabis industry, could you have ever imagined that you'd be where you are now?
No, not at all. Not at all. Not at all. I mean, this is something that I was dreaming of, and I keep working at it. I knew there was a huge market for this technology. I knew there was a demand in the market for it. And I've seen other technology. I said, this is for me, because I've been making machines for 30 years. So I know how to make good quality machine. And I look at those things and the cost, the price they were selling it. And I said, look, this is not going to be working. So, but to be successful at this point, no. To be very, very, very honest with you, we are pretty excited. We're close to producing 10 machines per month now. And we have those partners that I talked to you about. We have a lot of people very interested in investing in our company too. So we are kind of in a good situation, but I'm staying very humble, because I've been through a lot of tough times in my career too. So it's never been like, so I keep pushing, I keep improving, I want to be ahead, and I want to be always having the best technology and listen to customers and fixing issues. So the customer feels that I take care of them. I mean, if they complain about something, I know about it, and we're working on it. It's not just and we're close to our customers. So we're in North America. We have a factory now in Las Vegas. We opened about 8 months ago. So we have a team there. They do a bit of assembly there. We have all the spare parts. I have technicians there. So and we're just opening in Boston also, a facility there within the next 6 to 8 months. So we're trying to be closer to our customers, but our technicians are all remote anyway. So they're basically living on their in hotels and servicing customers.
As an engineer, how do you separate trying to fix every single individual problem with, getting something out in the market that works?
So that's a very good question. You have to have a vision, okay, and you have to sometimes make tough decisions on where you're going and stick to it, okay, and believe in what you're doing. So I'll give you an example. When we first introduced the 200, people were always saying, "Oh, I want to go faster. I want to go faster. I want to go faster." And it would have been easy to say, "Okay, let's go already with a high-speed version of this machine, very high speed." And I said to my team, "Look, guys, we need to make sure that this technology works 100% before trying to triple." Because I know if you have a technical background, which looks like you ask very good questions. So it's when you go faster, the error is not a linear progression of issues that you're going to have. It's logarithmic. So basically what happened is that you have to make sure that the base is extremely solid. So customer were asking for high speed. I said, look, let's create the best machine possible with a very consistent, no rework product, flexible, and people will buy. I thought people would buy this, and that's basically what happened. Now we're ready to go for the high speed. But when I release a high speed, I'm not doing. I'm doing some R&D, obviously, but it's not going to be on the core of the understanding of the technology, because we're reusing what's been proven and triple it. Same thing with the smaller version and the middle size version. So, but when it's valid and when you hear about an issue multiple times and the technicians report those issues, and then in our engineering department, R&D, we decide what we're working on. And I've been hiring a lot of people, and good people, and they're all very enthusiastic and passionate about this. They're like, we're like kids working on something that we want to make it better, and we love it. So that's a passion that translates. But you're right. We need to decide on what we're working on. Like the infuse and the oil injection was, I think, a key decision making on where we're going on the high speed. But I've been asked to do keef coating, for example. We worked on it, and it was so many issues that we saw. I spend quite a bit of money and time on that, and then I have a prototype, and I look at it and I said, look, guys, and I was putting all my resources in there. Said no, just so I canceled, to be honest with you, this project to move to. So yes, there is always decision that needs to be made, but you have to have a vision and believe in it, because it's never going to be. Sometimes you build a product that you think market was going to love, and boom, it doesn't work. And I've done that several times in my career, to be very honest with you.
Yeah.
It's you do one home run, but you do a lot of strikeouts.
Well, your passion is definitely, you emanated, and it's, it's just really cool to hear from an engineer in the industry that, is just working hard to put out the best product on the market. And it's just really invigorating.
Yeah. I mean, there's no secret there. I mean, you got to be honest, integrity. You got to serve your customer. You got to put yourself in the customer's shoes when you do something, and you got to love what you're doing. And that industry needed maybe that kind of technology, where you have that technology in pharmaceutical. I believe in 15 years, you'll have the same thing in the cannabis industry, but it's a new industry, and we were in early. We're fortunate to be early and believe in this. And thank you to say that. I'm 100% passionate, and that reflects to my team. We want to be the best, and we want to do the best product, and for the good reasons. So yeah. Thank you to tell me that, because that's for me, that's my driven. I wake up in the morning, and that's what I think about, basically.
Yeah. Well, before we get out of here, is there anything that we might have left out, or anything in particular you want to make sure the Cannabis Equipment News audience knows about yourself or PreRoll-Er?
I mean, the only thing I want the people to know is that if they are looking to automate pre-rolls, I think we're the right company, the right partner for them, and we're going to take care of them and make sure they have the right product at the right price, right package, and we'll service them, we'll support them. And they can find us on preroll-er.com. And it's not complete yet, but the website is pretty good. We have a lot of numbers and email there, and they'll find us. We can do demos by basically almost every day, because we always have machine that we're shipping almost every day, every second day. So we can demonstrate the machine very easily, do demos, visit customers. So if people are interested in our technology, just reach out to us. Would love to share our passion.
Well, Harold, thanks again for your time today. I really do appreciate it.
It was a real pleasure, David. Thank you very much for your time too.
All right. Well, before we get out of here, please make sure to like, share, and subscribe to the podcast. You could also help us out a lot by leaving the podcast a positive review on whatever platform you use. Finally, if you want to email the podcast, you can reach me at david@cannabisequipmentnews.com. All right, for Harold Bouchard, President and CEO of PreRoll-Er, I'm David Manti. This is the Cannabis Equipment News Podcast, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you for listening to the Cannabis Equipment News Podcast.